it's Romy here. Thanks so much for tuning into my channel. This is your October 2022 soul story. If you have a sun rising or moon in the sign, then this is your reading. And let's see what we're going to open up with. We have the energy of the Knight of Pentacles. So even though you may feel a little bit impatient and at times impulsive to get moving, there is a invitation from the universe here to just slow it down a little bit. And in fact, the overall energy for October, although it's very intense, it is moving us forward at the same time as slowing us down. There's a little bit of complexity to what's happening astrologically. So let's explain that. First of all, we're going to welcome Mercury, Pluto and Saturn all shifting direct, which means that some of the delays and restrictions and issues around communication will start to feel lifted. But everything that you've been internalizing, reflecting and processing about the lessons that you've gone through now need to bring about a shift and a change in behavior. There's a new sense of prioritization and perhaps some of your commitments changing, or there being adjustments to those commitments as you move into October. I do like that you look quite steady and you're quite grounded in a month that is going to feel like there's quite a lot of flux and intensity. We are going to be coming into eclipse season, new moon solar eclipse in Scorpio on the 25th. And we also have Mars going retrograde at the end of the month on the 30th, which is a cycle we'll be working with all the way through to January of next year. And so this kind of pushing, pulling energy can create, or has the potential to create, quite a lot of inner conflict. And yet for you here, you do look like you're shielding yourself, or you're kind of being quite strong in your boundaries. And even though it may be translating to you as feeling like you want to get going and things are not quite aligning or coalescing quite yet in a way that you feel confident, you are going to start to recognize and realize the significance of all of your power being in this present moment. Now, the universe is asking you to think about why you want what you want. Okay, and I think that night is kind of slowing it down so that you can get that message loud and clear in terms of what you're expressing and how you're vibrating. You know, in third house, it's all about the way that you communicate, Leo, and something about October is absolutely bringing out in you a completely different language. It really is. And so the biggest changes that you're going to witness in your life, remember, are rooted in the smallest of habits, especially the way that you talk to yourself about yourself and your life. And there's an illumination here of what's manifesting is really reminding you of all of the things that you're thinking and feeling and speaking about most. Now, the Five of Cups, even though it can indicate that there has been some sense of a disappointment, there is something that on a level you feel like you're grieving or you're trying to process and come to terms with. And it may even feel like you're continuously trying to chase something and it just hasn't shown itself, it's not revealed itself, or it certainly didn't come about in the way that you had anticipated. I don't think you could have seen it coming, and so it's important not to be beating yourself up in the shoulda, woulda, coulda. I don't think you could have done anything differently. I think this is something that you are meant to be going through and experiencing on some level. And in actual fact, I think quite quickly through the month of October, you're going to be able to put it in some sense of priority in terms of where you want to now invest and direct your energy. And it's going to help you to just almost find a context about it that perhaps previously, and especially during that Mercury retrograde, you weren't able to, because I think it kind of messed with your thought forms a little bit, perhaps brought some anxiety with it. So there's certainly more of a sense of groundedness, and within that I see you revisiting the potential of something. Remember, those two cups standing are really significant and poignant for you this month. Now that you're revisiting something that has potential, you're going to figure out what's also changed within you. Yeah, and that's why it's important to think about why you want what you want. So as you're addressing what's changed within you, you're now going to be able to see how much more might be possible in regards to something that has this potential. Okay, this is quite a big theme that I see playing out across the month for you, and I really want you to be aware of where it's going to show up for you. Remember, Leo, your gifts, whatever they are still set to inspire people, even if you feel like you're not tapped into them yet. The feelings that are still yet to kind of come to full fruition across different areas of your life are still going to impact people deeply and help to change them as they change you. Your ideas and the actions that you take are such a profound catalyst for growth, not just for you, but for others. And your high priest is really coming in with this sense of profound learning and teaching. Yeah, I say this over and over again. We heal and then we teach. And something about what you went through in regards to this challenging situation has really come kind of full circle for you. And through this month of October, you're going to know what you want to do with it. And that's going to absolutely be significant in the ways in which you're going to be able to start healing it. Remember, often what's unresolved within us is projected on the outside. And you may be seeing that very clearly with certain people around you. So what that's going to remind you of is, first of all, it's not everybody's season of brave right now, and that there are many people who are struggling to move with the swiftness of the ascension and the awakening that's taking place. But also there's perhaps parts of you that are not quite ready to face certain things as well. And so the compassion, the tolerance, the understanding, but also the education, and not doing it necessarily, without sensitivity, but at the same time being able to be that bright beacon or help to direct people that you see are struggling to places where they may be able to get the support that they need. And whether that's people that you're in direct, relationships with, or people that come into your path, I do see you having quite an important role to play, because remember, the new language that you have is very much going to be rooted in what you've gone through and how it's changed you. And this shift in your own self-perception has to now start to be something that is changing the way that you move through the world, okay? Now, we're going to be looking at themes of commitment with that Knight of Pentacles and the Hierophant coming through. Because we've got the Five of Cups, I feel like perhaps some of you are having some challenges around the theme of commitment. Maybe that's showing up in specific relationships. Maybe yourself, you're struggling to commit to something you know is going to be good for you or right for you. Or, you're just coming up against something where there's some real growth and perhaps some growing pains. Remember, all these pockets of pain are kind of extraordinary portals for deeper self-discovery this month. I need you to remember this. Now, we're going to be welcoming a full moon and fellow fire sign Aries coming in on the 9th of the month. It also lights up your 9th house, Leo. So the higher learning that's coming in around that time is really significant. Although I think that there's a sense of a little drama and a little chaos around that, I actually see you in a moment of stillness. So you might be the one that's kind of observing it all playing out and just choosing not to get engaged, not to participate, and actually realizing that there's something quite healing as you acknowledge the change in your own emotional response. Now, be aware that your words can absolutely add fuel to the fire during that full moon. So be very careful and mindful about what you say and how you say it. And you might be incredibly well-meaning, but it might just set somebody off, which is not about you. It's 100% about where they're at and the trigger that they feel because of it. But you might end up with quite a strong reaction to something that you do that might kind of surprise you a little bit or take you off guard, like you just hadn't expected to kind of receive that because maybe it was coming from a good place or a well-intentioned place. So even as you recognize the ways in which you've changed and the healing that you've received, as I said, not everybody might be quite on board or where you're at, and so it almost highlights to them how far away they still feel from where they're supposed to be. So it's kind of an interesting time, but again, with that invitation to higher wisdom and learning and being able to teach and kind of really rethink what your own value system is, through that first part of the month, it's very important. Now, you're still going to feel the influence of Saturn squaring Uranus. So themes that have been playing out over the last year and last year are coming back, the kind of dissolving of power structures, both, in the wider collective, but also within your own personal experience and pathways, and sort of feeling like there's so much disruption to help you to change and wrap up these cycles. It's so important. But I really like the world coming in for you. Remember, it's linked into Saturn, and Saturn shifting direct in Aquarius around the 22nd. There may be some really good news or something that comes in around that time, and you need to make sure that you're coming at it from this new understanding of who you are. Remember what I said, your language, talking to yourself about yourself is absolutely everything, because I want you deserving and ready and open to receive at this time. There might be something coming in that's a little further afield as well, connected to that 9th house energy of the full moon that will be playing out for the following 2 weeks and coming into that world energy. So be on the lookout for that, and also be open-minded, because I think you're also going to be challenged in terms of some of the ways in which you kind of see things, or the views that you have about certain places or certain people or certain ways of doing things. Like, it's just all kind of for under review. And remember, these eclipse energies will break things down. Yeah, because there's meant to be like these new trajectory shifts that are coming in. And with that, sometimes the upheaval can feel quite sudden, and it can feel a bit destabilizing for us. But ultimately, what it wants to do is direct you to where you're supposed to be. Now, I think you're dealing with something toward that mid part of the month as we sort of enter into Scorpio season, that's perhaps a little close to home. We're going to be 4th house energy there. And I feel like it's not something totally brand new. I think that there's going to be something that's already been flagged up, perhaps in a family dynamic or close personal relationships. And you know, you're having to go back over old ground again, and there's also this sense of you just feeling like I don't know what more I can say or what more I can do. Like, I just have you kind of feeling a bit exasperated within this energy. We do have Juno shifting direct in Pisces on the 23rd. Remember, she's the asteroid goddess of partnerships. And just a reminder, if you're interested in how these goddess energies affect you, I do the reports that link into your personal natal chart. But there is something about having a really meaningful, honest conversation coming in. And I think you'll be able to get to the root of something at a deeper layer than you ever have before. But I feel like with Mars shifting retrograde in Gemini at the end of the month, there's also going to be, even if there's well like timed intentions from people about how to address and how to make changes, it might take longer than you would like to see to have those things realized. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to feel slowed down in your pathway, so hear me with that, okay? But if there is a slowing down, there's perhaps also something to learn. Remember, that Knight of Pentacles is doing the work to give you a really strong, solid foundation, so that what you can build upon, whether it be relationships, the things that you want to draw in for your future, that you have that rock solid base, that it can allow for significant growth. So there's a lot of churn and change that's actually here to really invite that potential for you to be fully realized. But don't allow the frustration of looking at someone else or observing their behavior and feeling like it's not where it needs to be to enable you to get to where you need to be. Remember, there's nothing that needs to change in the world outside of you in order for you to be able to receive the things that you want. Really remember that, okay? And then this month, as you reconsider why you want what you want, you're going to be all sorts of possibilities that can come through here as you remember your power and you shift your language, very much rooted in that. So that 9 of Swords, albeit uncomfortable and bringing up perhaps some fear of missing out or it not changing, or kind of being stuck in that sense of lack. It's not enough. I'm not seeing enough. I'm not receiving enough. If it's not playing out close to home in relationships, it could be something that's really significant and has got a lot of weight in terms of the influence that it has for you, not just now, but over the coming months, because I see you looking ahead and then starting to almost kind of think, gosh, if that doesn't happen, then this won't happen, and this won't happen. And it's like you're on a runaway train with it. So remember, veil is really thin this month. So when Halloween on the 31st, you can connect and draw power, comfort, support from your ancestors, your loved ones. Really significant, auspicious sign showing up for you between the 27th and the 31st. All right, so pay attention, because there's something coming through that wants to alleviate and soothe whatever it is that you've got going on that's stressing you out in relation to this, okay? So we're going to go ahead and pull 3 cards just to reveal in our extended reading, which is going to complete this insight for you for October. If you're new to the channel, you can find the link for my extended reading in the description box underneath. It's a way to support me and also receive another 20-25 minutes into this month ahead. I'm going to ask you, Leo, now just to think about a personal question that might not have come up in the main spread there, okay? We will go ahead and pull some personal cards to cover off in that session as well. Now, just beginning to clarify this main spread with our Knight of Pentacles coming in with the Three of Wands here. Energy of the Devil. And Strength, okay. Five of Cups, Queen of Pentacles. Nice to see the sun coming in there. Both of your Leo cards showing up this month with Strength and the Sun. That's nice. Chariot. Nice. There's our movement forward, slow you down at the same time. It's going to be an interesting month. Hard to even second guess for yourself where you think something's going to lead, you know. I think it's going to take many detours and have you moving down some interesting roads and rabbit holes, but you will end the month, I feel, with a sense of like vindication on something. All right, let's pull your oracle cards and see what wants to come through. So this is Life Soul Vision, my new oracle deck, which is now out for general release. You can find all of the preview of the cards again over on my website, guys. What do we have? Spirit Stag, Heavenly Timing. Okay, another Saturn influenced energy coming through there for you. We'll cover that off more in the extended. And finally, we've got Kyle Gray's Angelic Prayer. So what wants to come through for Leo? Signs from Heaven. As I said, just keep an eye out for the dates between the 27th and the 31st. Now, one is leaving there, so I'm just going to pull it for you as well. So you get to this month. Love and accept yourself. Okay, Leo, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're joining me for the extended, I'll see you there. Otherwise, I'm going to wish you beautiful blessings for this month ahead. You take good care. Bye for now.